Oh, hello, yes. Well, there was another recent reboot of Spitting Image, which, it seems desperately that nobody really cares about it. And I think the basic problem is that, satire is most definitely dead. Our ruling elites have decidedly decided to own that particular bit of territory all for themselves. South Park might be able to get the occasional jibe in, but when it comes down to it, it's very hard to tell. I was going to start this piece today by presenting you with three news stories, only one of which wasn't fiction, but looking at the news, there's no point in doing that because all three of them that I was thinking about could potentially be true, so we'll just dive into the actual one I was going to use. It was this in the Telegraph, which was, George Osbourne, reform cannot be trusted on the economy. Interview, former Chancellor says Kemi Badenoch can win confidence of voters. Yes, good old George, who of course was in number 11 under Cameron and gave us so many positive things that you can count all up, can't you? You can see all the positive things he did, didn't he? Yes, lots of them, lots. But the whole article just has you sort of staring at it thinking, really? And it's just presented as somehow something that's valid, that George has something to say to us now about what needs to be done. So it's worthwhile just picking out a few quotes. Mr. Osborne, who steered Britain through a painful period of austerity. It was, wasn't it? Luckily, we're all out of that now, said everybody, as Chancellor in the coalition government under David Cameron insisted the Conservatives' best hope of beating reform was on the economy. He said, fundamentally, people vote for the Conservative Party when they want the grown-ups to be in charge of the economy. Indeed, and of course we can see just how well the having George and the other grown-ups in charge went for, the best part of 15 years. It was a brilliant time, wasn't it? It was rather like Thatcher, but not quite like Thatcher. It was more like sort of Thatcher, but with nothing left to sell off, wasn't it? Anyway, we're all enormously proud to have had his service. Thank you for your service, sir. Moving on, it is an open question whether the current Labour administration can convince people it has an economic plan, he said. In particular, he stressed that Labour has lost some of its reputation with business by launching a £25 billion national insurance tax raid last year. Mr. Osborne was speaking at the Telegraph on the sidelines of Coinbase's London Crypto Forum. Since leaving government in the wake of the Brexit reform, Mr. Osborne has taken a series of jobs spanning finance and the media, including editing the Evening Standard between 2017 and 2020. Yes, indeed. Oh, yes, you may recall. Sounds a bit like that revolving door thing, doesn't it? Yeah, after all, you would have thought that being the editor of the Evening Standard, he, kind of knows something about journalism or telling the truth. But then you have to think who owns the Evening Standard. And of course, it's everyone's favourite. Yes, Boris did give him a knighthood Russian who has just decided to buy loads of things with his mates, like George. It's no wonder that there are no comments from George about any such things, because obviously those are going to be sort of painful things to bring up. You won't want to bring that up. So undoubtedly in his interview there'll be nothing said about reform and Russians, because might be a bit close to the bone. But I love the crypto coin thing, because of course the man knows so much about finance that he's now trying to persuade people in the UK that what they need is to have far less regulation, except of course backing very dodgy crypto coin with government money. Yeah, that would really work, wouldn't it? Yeah, this is the man that bought you, him staking his reputation on Britain's AAA credit rating, which then went, and then he said that it didn't really matter anyway because nobody cared. Stakes his reputation on something that nobody cares, doesn't meet the target, and lands a really nice job with his dodgy mates. And speaking of which, who wonder who he was speaking to at the conference? Oh, good grief, it's Nick Clegg. Yes, who's also done pretty well, hasn't he, since those austerity days? The two of them have done pretty well. I imagine Nick Clegg's managed to, pay off his student loan by now. That's lovely, isn't it? Yes. Meanwhile, the rest of us, just haven't, have we? Still, I'm sure we really need to listen to these types of people and the interesting things about it. But, we did did get a chance to hear from Sir Nick. Yeah, asked by Sir Nick about his regrets from that era, he said failures to reform the NHS were the biggest issue. We misfired and no one has touched it since. He said, yeah, awful, isn't it? They couldn't actually manage to, sell off the NHS, the one last thing that they really wanted to do. Still, reform will do it for them, except, of course, I don't know. Is that the adults being in the room? Hard to say, really. Still, I'm sure if Kemi Badenoch promises to do that, I'm sure the people will feel that I have real faith in sound money, along with all the other sound Tories, all the other sound Tories like George and all his mates in the last 14 years. You cannot make this stuff up. It is so wildly beyond satire. Yeah. And of course, at the weekend we have those dreadful stories of anti-Semitism and the way that we just desperately need various Israeli football teams to play Aston Villa. And then, of course, unfortunately, yesterday there was news about, rioting in Tel Aviv involving loads and loads of policemen. I imagine the police in Tel Aviv are extremely anti-Semitic or something. I don't know if someone can explain that one to me, but no doubt people in this country will just pretend it hasn't really happened and will be absolutely vital that the match goes ahead, and then there'll be loads of trouble, and then it'll be all the people that are anti-Semitic, all of them. It couldn't possibly be a bunch of fans from Israel. I mean, after all, they don't riot. And the other one which really caught my eye was Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, who have decided that they are so much in favour of free speech that they're going to demand with their mates that the president of the Oxford Union is no longer the president. Yes, they demand, otherwise they're going to speak to their friends and they won't come here and talk to us about their brilliant things like crypto, presumably. And astoundingly, and I mean this really, truly astoundingly, reading this piece, Toby Young has come out in favour of free speech. I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Toby Young, Lord Young's boy, has come out actually on the side of free speech compared to on the side of the nasty racist bigots who are paid vast amounts of American money. I know, beyond anything that you might have considered credible. Oh, what a world we live in. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, George Osbourne. Still, long may he sit on his very, very heavily hyped podcast and tell us all the interesting things that we need to know. Next up, of course, will be Peter Mandelson, who will be talking to us about the need for safeguarding young people from dangerous predators. Or maybe we could have an interview with Tony Blair about peace in the Middle East. I'm sure Alistair Campbell will have things to say about that as well. These people never fail anything other than upwards, and magically they always get paid more and more and more. But the main thing they get paid for is to tell you and I that we just aren't working quite hard enough, and by God, we're just going to have to suck it up, and difficult decisions are going to need to be made. Do have a lovely day if you can do.